What up? What up? What up? In fact, let me put on my headset. Yeah, let me put on my headset. Get boom. Okay, let me see. Boom, boom, boom. See. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Can you hear me? Let me do this. Get it connected. So I'm gonna just do this real quick. And take this off. Let me put this on. Boom. Yes, you can hear me. You can hear me. You hear me through the headphones? Just let me know if you can hear me through the headphones very well. Yes, Doc. Yes, Doc. Yes, Doc. Let's see what up. All right. Cool beans. Cool beans. What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Hip Hop History Origins and Elements. I am your host, Dr. D, aka the Hip Hop Doc, a voice for the culture. And tonight we have a very special guest. He'll be joining us in a little while. Just want to give some people some time to get up in here, waiting for my moderator to come in. What's up, Bang Swift? I see you. Thank you for tuning in. This also is going to be one for the records. Is my lighting okay? Does this lighting look better? Does it look better like this or like this? I kind of like it like this. So let's try it again one more time. Does it look better like this or like this? I kind of like it like that. I like that kind of soft feeling, the soft look. A little Puerto Rico pending on. Let's get those likes up, y'all. Let's get those likes up. Number one for lighting. Not this, right? Not this. Not number two. Number one. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, soft better. Yes, sir. Looks better. Looks better. I love it. Hope you guys having a great week so far. It's a Wednesday night. It's a Wednesday night. Yes, yes, yes. It's a Wednesday night. Go ahead and begin to start sharing this on your platforms. Please go ahead, share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on TikTok. Get those likes up. We should have as many likes as we have viewers. Let's just share this, share this, share this, share this. And my man Talim, what's up, brother? Grace and peace, bro. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, let's get everybody up in here. Go ahead and share this on your platforms. Let's get the likes up, get the algorithms going. We're going to talk about a couple of things. Yeah, as we get ready for our guest. So once our guest comes in, I'm actually going to hold on one second, man. Yeah, okay. I'm actually going to get rid of on my end so I won't see the comments because I can't see him and the comments. It kind of covers his face. I'm not sure what that's about. But please go ahead and share this on your platforms. Let people know Hip Hop History Origins and Elements is live, is direct, and we are going to have a great conversation with our brother Teknyc. He's going to tell you his story. And so, yeah, it's on, it's on, it's on. I dropped a video earlier today. Um, you will notice that video has a little laptop computer on it. I want you to check that video out and see what's up. Listen, he's here, man. We're going to go ahead and get it in. Let's go. Here we go.
Peace.
Boom.
Peace. Good
What up,
evening,
brother?
bro. How are
How
you?
are you? I'm doing well, man. You
All
good?
right. Yeah, man. Everything's
Your
good.
your lighting looks fantastic. Looks great. Ah, nice. I get a lot of people that their lighting is it's just bad, man. So
Right, right.
I appreciate the lighting, bro. Good,
No
man.
doubt. I do my best.
Yeah, man. You doing all right?
Yeah, good, man. Day's been good. My wife and I are prepping to go camping on Friday, so I just spend the day like getting all our camping gear together and stuff.
And you're that Jeep guy, so yeah, you like the Jeep, and yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel you, man.
So
Yeah,
it's Jeep life.
yeah. I just got myself a I want the Wrangler, but I ended up, not able to afford that, so I ended up with uh a Compass 23 Compass.
Those
Nice,
are nice.
modern. Yeah, it's nice. It's
Those are
nice.
nice, man. You're gonna
Yeah,
get a lot of miles out of that. I'll tell you that right now.
yeah, 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 yeah. How do you know that? You know
I, I
people who have them?
I have a lot of friends that have them and deck them out, and like they go camping with it. They love it.
Okay, okay,
They're
okay.
good, bro. They just stay on the maintenance. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Like it'll last you a long time, bro.
all right. Yeah, we gotta connect and show me how to deck it out because I'm trying to figure out how to make it look more rugged and off road. I'm sure there's a lot of mods to do, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for
So
sure, for sure.
absolutely, man, absolutely. So we just waiting for some people to get up in here, man. Tonight, bro, I don't really have you know questions per se. We're just gonna sort of have a conversation. um, I know where I want you to start, and then I'll let you go, and I'll interrupt you, and we'll conversate, and of course we'll get into the conversation of all conversations and what we talked about.
Right,
Let's just start. Both of us, including the chat. Anybody in the chat, listen. We want to ask you, keep the cursing to a zero, right? I don't
right,
want to see no cursing in the chat. I don't want to see people getting disrespectful in the chat. Listen, we can agree to disagree agreeably. So let's do that, right? So we're not gonna agree on everything, no matter what side we're on. And there shouldn't be any sides when it comes to hip hop and the conversation. We're all one, but I understand there are people who are, they're doing their thing, and we're gonna clear up a lot of misconceptions and hear the story of Teknyc. And so, I'm actually, there she is. Andrina is in the building. So, moderator is here, and she is going to handle all of the comments. She's going to put you in timeout if you deserve a timeout. And let's just be respectful at a certain point. If you have questions for Teknyc, I know he's probably more than open to answering those questions, right? So let's just keep it respectful. In that, so Tech, let me tell you what, and I think you saw this. Um, Probably over the last couple of days, I dropped a couple of videos. I dropped one with Ruby D from the Fantastic Five, and um, it was actually a snippet from his full length interview, which we're taking for the documentary. So we're taking little snips and creating some of his pieces for the documentary. I also had the opportunity to interview Babito Garcia, and that was a fantastic interview, man. He dropped some gems, and we did a little, snippet of that. But I think most people got really, I don't want to say upset, but they got really emotional about the Ruby D clip that I used. and he said some things that were pretty, enlightening. And I'm talking about this so we can get back to that later. Right. So I think the first question that I want to ask you is, first of all, tell us who you are, where you're from, and then how did you first get exposed to hip hop?
Gotcha. Well, first and foremost, obviously, thank you for having me. Big shout out to you and your staff. Miss Andrina, thank you. And I saw you say hello. Peace to everybody tuning in. I see the homie Profo in there. So yeah, I just want to get that out the way. Give my thanks to everybody tuning in, the ones that are here now and the ones that are tune in here in a bit. Y'all could go back and hear the thank yous, right? So my name is Joel Martinez. I go by Teknyc, spelled Teknyc. Uh, that's a nickname that was given to me by another B.Boy. I'll touch on that a bit later, but just want to get that out of the way because when people see the spelling, initially, if they don't know me, they think it's Tech NYC. It's not. It's just the word technique spelled different. And the long story short for that is so that when I went to put my name on a shirt, like my B-Boy crew and my name, is so that the name could fit when they went to
Mm,
iron the shirt, right?
mm,
Technique. It would have been too long. So my boy, who was one of my mentors, B-Boy Muggsy, gave me the name and the spelling Teknyc. So I just that way we can all kind of like know where the name is, what it means, and where it came from. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, a little barrio called Barrio Obrero in Santurce. It's just outside of San Juan. I was born in 1977. Um, so in the very early 80s is when I was exposed to hip hop. Why? Because as we, at least us, Puerto Ricans know, we have brothers and sisters that are called New Yorkers. These are our brothers and sisters who are of Puerto Rican background, but were either born in New York or migrated to New York at a very early age and then were raised in New York City, right? Well, what happens with that? That every summer or every holiday or every so often, those cousins, those brothers, those sisters, they come from New York to visit the island, right? So in my block, there would be like two neighbors down, and out of nowhere, one summer comes this young kid or a young girl. And I'm like, I've never seen that person before. Who are these? Oh, these are my family members from the Bronx. They're visiting, right? And so there comes information. They're dressed different. They're listening to music and tracks that we haven't heard yet. They're doing things like breaking, and we're like, what the heck is that? Right? So we're having an imported source of what's going on in New York City, right? And I mean, I'm going to
mm,
keep it strictly to breaking, right? Because that's mainly what I do. I'm also a graffiti writer, AKA style writer. Um, so we're seeing a lot of that also, right?
mm,
We're seeing all the elements, but again, I'm gonna stick for with breaking, which is the first thing that really, really, like grabbed me. You know what I mean? So one of these young kids that came over from New York, uh, brought breaking. I mean, brought breaking as in when I first saw it, right?
mm,
It might have been all over the island, right? I'm from Barrio Obrero. There might have been somebody in Carolina, somebody in Bayamon that brought it before. So I'm not here to dispute who was first. Simply talking to when I first saw it,
mm,
right? So then, very quickly, here comes Style Wars, Wild Style, B Street, right? Like it starts happening very fast. We are a
mm.
Commonwealth of the United States, so we get everything, bro. Like we had Rambo, First Blood. We saw that subtitle at the
Right.
movie theater. So, I'm just saying that because a lot of people that don't know, they think of Puerto Rico as a third world country. It's not, right?
Mm,
There's pros and cons, like anything, right? Being a Commonwealth of the United States. But again, just to stick to the experience, is that these things are happening at the speed of time, right?
mm,
And if it
mm,
and if it's not that we're not seeing it on TV, then again, here comes a cousin, a neighbor, bringing the thing that's happening, the movement, the styles, the why, right? And so, I could tell y'all, right, that very quickly the thing musically that impacted the island was the electro breaks, and then a little bit later would be freestyle music because of the similar style in music.
Mm.
I don't want to paint a broad brushstroke. I'm sure there was, you know, some Puerto Rican families that listen to soul, as in James Brown and funk. I'm certain, of course,
Mhm.
but I can tell y'all unequivocally that the island, like the massive impact, it was the Planet Rock. It was the looking for the perfect beat and all those type of tracks.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I am
Mhm.
telling you guys, I saw it firsthand as a child. My older brother Willie was one of the top b-boys in Puerto Rico. Big shout out to my brother. I have photos or trophies that he won in Loíza competitions. Break it like we still have the trophies in my mom's house.
Now,
So I
what year did, and you might have said this, but I don't know if I caught it. So you start seeing b-boying or breaking. You see it first in Puerto Rico, or you see it first in New York City?
in Puerto Rico. I
Puerto
when
Rico.
I didn't migrate to the United States till like 1990. I was
Mm.
born in
Okay.
77, right?
Okay.
So 83, right? Like this is obviously there's a big gap from when it started in New York.
Sure.
But now we're talking about the beginning of the commercialization of
Hmm.
breaking, right?
Right.
Um and so it hits the world like a meteor, bro. I lived in London for a year. I was there doing a theater show, and
Mm-hmm.
this is not to bob and weave in and out of the story, but the brothers and sisters that I met there that were around my same age, they had a very similar story as to
Mm-hmm.
how they saw breaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
They said that because in London there's a big Caribbean community, mainly Jamaicans, right? Their family members who lived in Queens and the Bronx who would come over to London to visit them, not just the island in Jamaica, but they would go over to London. It was it's still a direct flight, New York to
Mm-hmm.
London, right? They were bringing that over there before the movies, and then the movies came out. And then Rocksteady drops an album. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? The Up Rock joint, and they're traveling the world. So this is not now, especially for us breakers, that we know the impact that the European breakers had early on in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
People don't think about the migration patterns of people in New York. So
Mm.
sure, while New York is the mecca of breaking, it's also the gateway to the world. Isn't that the name of New York City?
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So like if we look at a map, you look at New York City, it's like all the flights are going all over the entire universe from there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
my experience is the same for many parts in the country and many parts in the world around that time.
Right. 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 Okay. So you're seeing that. That's interesting. You're seeing b-boy, and that makes sense because, um, you know, a lot of Puerto Ricans from the 70s and the 80s were traveling back and forth to PR from New York. And these are New Yorkers who, whether they got in trouble and they got sent to the island to sort of,
Cool
go
down.
hibernate,
Yeah,
chill
yeah.
out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're there and they're bringing New York with them.
Yeah.
They bring themselves with them.
Yes.
So yeah, it definitely makes sense that they're gonna see uh, b-boying breaking on the island because there's New Yorkers there. So you you get to New York City, and now did you start breaking in Puerto Rico, or this doesn't happen until New York?
Right. So I'll go chronologically, but for the sake of time, it's gonna be very expedient, right?
Sure.
So I'm the youngest of three. My brother Willie is the middle. My older sister Jackie, right? So
Hmm.
as a very little kid, I'm looking at my brother. He's starting to learn how to do backflips, how to do windmills, how to do hairspins, how to do halos, style footwork. He's competing. I'm telling you, we got the trophies, right? Like
Mm.
I have photos of my brother with his isms. You know what I mean? His B-boy styles, right? I'm the young kid in the clique that's trying to mimic my brother. I can't quite say really, bro, that I was breaking. I was attempting. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And my brother was he was too fly to try to be a teacher. He was too
Hmm.
busy riding BMX bikes, you know, trying to hook up his mongoose to get to the jams and hanging out with the older peeps in the neighborhood who, because he had the haspins and the windmills, they would take him to all the fiestas padronales. That's the big party in town, like the carnivals or the festivals, and there would be battles there, bro. I saw B Street in Plaza Carolina, and during the battle in the movie, there was a battle in the theater. So it wasn't like a crew versus a crew,
Wow.
bro. It was madness and mayhem. It was an absolute brawl, non-physical, of battles going off. So imagine as a kid, like it changed my life, bro. Like I was like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. But again, to be honest, I was not. I didn't become technique. I wasn't good. So now there is a lapse, right? Hip hop, well, let's call it break. Let's stick to breaking. It dies, it goes
Mm.
away. It's not cool. You know, it's looked down upon. It's not in style.
What
Other
year is this?
now we're like 80, 87, 88, 89. So I'll give you points of references, right? And I'm not gonna try to be this record, Savion, like I know dates at times, but I could tell you experience, right?
Sure.
So um I remember soundtracks. So you got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles come out. You got the
Hmm.
pump up the jam, pump it up, and all the like, right. So now it's still hip hop, electro, right. So what happens is breaking becomes played out, and now it's more of a hip hop party dance, freestyle, baggier
Hmm.
clothes, very colorful. Um, a lot of kids doing routines, right, to the songs, like very,
Hmm.
hip hop choreography.
Hmm.
So breaking to me was like gone, right? Mind you, I'm still a kid. What am I into? Skateboards, bicycles, fucking excuse the language,
Hmm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, this is the time frame, right? My
Hmm.
brother becomes my brother Willie also stops breaking. He decides to become a jockey, a horse jockey, right?
Mm.
So he as a young as a teenager, he comes to the United States first out of anyone in my family to
Hmm.
pursue a career as a horse jockey, right? This is 89, right?
Hmm.
He like this is the copy paste story of many sons and daughters of Puerto Ricans, right? Mommy,
Mm.
I'm gonna go to the United States. I'm gonna look for a better life. I promise you, I'm gonna make something out of myself. And when I do, I'm bringing all you guys over.
Hmm.
Copy paste, right? We heard the story a
Hmm.
million times. He does it. My brother
Hmm.
becomes one of the top jockeys in the nation, still to this day. You guys could look up Willie Martinez. They call him Chili Willie because he has a very chill style when he rides. He typically
Hmm.
comes from behind, and once that last turn comes, my boy is out. And
Mm.
he's world renowned. He's won the Breeders' Cup in California. Like, he's a pride of Puerto Rico. People know him very well, and
Mm.
he sticks to his word, right? So this connects with my family's migration to the United States, right?
Hmm.
So he brings us over. We first land in Florida, where he's racing at that time when his career takes off, right?
Hmm.
So we go to Tampa, Florida. That's where I actually went to middle school at Wet Middle School, and then I graduated from Jefferson High School. In that short period of 4 years, I'm growing, right? I'm now an adolescent. I'm getting older. I got my first car. I go down to Ybor City during one of those summers in 91, 92, and they used to shut down Ybor City. To everybody watching, if you're not familiar, is think of like where they do Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and it's kind of like a strip with clubs on both sides. to the fact that there in Tampa they call it the Spanish Quarters, like the French
Hmm.
Quarters are in New Orleans, right? So
Right.
what they would do on the weekends, and I think it was actually weekend started on Thursdays, they would shut down Seventh Avenue, right? And there would be no vehicle traffic, only human traffic. And people, teenagers and adults, they just cruise up and down. They're bar hopping. There's different clubs, different themes, different restaurants. So one evening, I'm you know going down going down the Ave with the crew, the squad, not a B-boy crew. There's just my high school peeps,
Hmm.
and I see something that I hadn't seen in years. And I've been going at this point. I've been going there for a couple of years as a teenager, right? I see the block, the Ave shut down, like humans, like there's a human wall, and people are going bonkers. They're screaming, and I can't tell if something's popping off or they're happy. And so we kind of make our way through, and as we're making our way through, I hear this paradoodle sound like, and I'm like, what the heck? And people screaming. I push my way through. There's some street performers. I never seen this in my life. I mind you, I saw breaking at a very early stage in Puerto Rico. It was DJs, house parties, block parties, club parties, teen night. I'm seeing dudes breaking on the concrete in the middle of the Ave, massive amounts of people. One dude on buckets playing them as if they're drums. I never seen anything like that in my life. And
Mm.
once I make my way through, I see this young black dude, this my who's Muggsy, my first mentor
Mm.
after my brother, the guy that gave me my B-boy name. Bro, this guy is doing a gazillion backflips. And right as I look, he takes the last one, leaps in the air, bro. Everything feels like in slow motion, bro. He's just pumped in the air, tucks, lands, and people lose their marbles, bro. Right, and like
Right.
it goes nuts. The other members there are just the name for the people that may or may not know. Boogie Boy Clown, Big Man Clown, who's kind of like our elder in skill methods. B-Boy K-Mel, who's now a legendary icon, one of the best B-boys of all time. This is before the name K-Mel. And the bucket player Jazz, two bucket players actually, Jazz and Peter Rabbit. Peter Rabbit went on to perform with Savion Glover's Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk on Broadway, right? He
Mm.
still performs on halftime shows for the NBA. He's an actual drummer, but Peter Rabbit is one of the brothers that really formatted the technique of the bucket player of the buckets. There's a technique where they're lifting the bucket with their feet at certain moments to get that bass to come up. And
Right.
they're very particular what buckets, you know what I mean, that they get, what sound they're gonna get out of it. So the show ends, people give them tons of money, give them every dollar they had, rightfully so. And I just stood there, man, and I waited till people dispersed. I saw them grab their bag and kind of go off on the side and have the little joint, crack the little jokes, talk their shit. And I approached them, kind of like softly and very carefully because I didn't, they're from out of town. I could tell.
Hmm.
I want to be mindful. They got a bag of money. I don't want them to think that someone's trying to stick them up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I approach so they know I mean no harm. I introduce myself. I tell them a little bit of the story that I just told y'all about my background and my connection to breaking. And I tell them, yo, like I didn't know this was still going on, man. I always loved it. I- Will you guys be okay if I came back to rock with y'all? You don't have to pay me.
Mm.
And they said, bro, they just said, yeah, come back.
Hmm.
Muggsy
Hmm.
has a very raspy voice. Yeah, cuzzo, come back, yo. It's all good. Yo,
Hmm.
man, I don't think they thought I was gonna come back. I came back, I came back and windbreakers or whatever. And I started doing, they put me on
Hmm.
the line,
Mm.
performing with them. Little by little, I learned the routine. That crew, they go by USA, United Street Artists. Like Profo said, big shout out to the Breeze team, right? Breeze team is another iconic, legendary street crew. You got New York City Float Committee, which Kamel, who was down in Florida at that time with USA, he
Mhm.
was initially taught by the New York City Float Committee, right? You have the Transformers, you have Teknyc All Stars, who I'm a member of. Teknyc All
Mm.
Stars are Apollo legends, right?
Mm.
Washington Square Park, New York City legends. I'm part of that crew because I also perform with them. You know what
Mm.
I mean? So my now reconnection to breaking and my personal history is directly attached to street performing
Mm.
before skill methods. So I'm crew with Kamel and Muggsy and Clown before skill methods forms. So let's fast forward again for the sake of time. Time goes by, these brothers were coming down. This is during the cold months, so they could make that money here. And
Mhm.
then just like the snowbirds, they would just go back in the summer and get that money on 40 dues, Washington Square Park. They will go to Canada. They will go to the Calgary Stampede. I didn't go there because I was still young, still living in my mom's house. I wasn't yet ready to take that leap. You know what I mean? I still had to finish school and all of that. But what happens? That there's a movement happening. Kira's
Mhm.
one drop step into a world. Chief Raka, Lords on the other of the Underground comes out. So now we're seeing breaking in music videos. Matter of fact, Breeze Team, who Profo mentioned, they're along with Quickstep and Rockefeller, Full Circle. They're in the KRS One Step into a World video. Those are street
Mm.
hitters, right? So now other teenagers in Tampa are starting to break also. These are the guys that I now connect with, while these street hitter, my brothers, my crew, USA, they're back in New York. I now need
Mhm.
to find like-minded people to go train with. This is now, long story short, who forms to be skill methods, abstract, B-Boy Venom, Flips, Cloud, who at the time was the youngest member. Him and his two brothers, they are in skill methods. And there were many other dancers. There was a local crew. I got to give them a big shout out from Tampa. They're called 813. That's the area code for Tampa. Sammy,
Mhm.
uh, uh, Zulu King Raul, aka Lito, aka Dolo. You
Yeah.
have Tracy. You had Tiger, who came down from DC. When we now, so mind you, you see the level that I'm at. So these guys, I'm street performing. I'm not quite there yet. I need to sharpen my sword, and I have a lot of work to do. So now we're going to the teen nightclubs. We're going to raves because they're playing high tempo music. I never did any of those crazy drugs, man. I just went there for because it sounded like Planet Rock. Matter of fact, at that time, Bambata was spinning at a lot of those raves
Mm. Mm.
because
Okay.
he's the godfather of the electro sound,
Mhm.
right? So he
Right.
was he was booked all over the world, and in any case, we were searching for the safe places where we could break, right? So those brothers that I mentioned, 813, bro, when we saw those guys, they had it. If everybody tuning in is as old as us and they know their hip hop, there's a MC crew called Ziggy, and they had a track called "Toss It Up," right?
Mm.
Elite Fours and Mop Top. These are like freestyle hip hop dancers, legends. They're in that
Mm.
music video. So there's all this movement. There's sound. There's fashion. There's dance. There's a rebirth of hip hop, and there's the new version of hip hop also happening, the golden era, right? So
Mm.
it's all happening simultaneously, right? Like you have Chief Rocka, you have this crew from Jersey, they're nasty with Lords of the Underground, and they
Mhm.
have and they have breakers in their video. They have
Mhm.
Kenny, they have Quickstep, and they have Fable in there popping. So
Mhm.
there's this, we're the golden era. We're rocking Hill Figure. We're rocking Nautica. We're talking about these things, but we love what came before us.
Right. Right.
And KRS One did that also, right? So we're getting glimpses of these '90s MCs giving
Mhm.
us the reminder. And I'm going to take this moment, Dr. D, to semi paraphrase and quote a book by is it Michael Dyson? Baby,
Mhm.
Michael Dyson? Eric?
Yeah.
Eric
Eric.
Michael Eric Michael Dyson. right?
Yeah.
I want to get that right so people watching can go and look it up. Eric Michael Dyson wrote a book called it's a breakdown of Nas's Illmatic, and it's called Born to Use Mics. What he did is he gave one of the 10 songs in Illmatic, including the intro, to a mix of scholars, MCs, and producers for them to write about each song, each
Hmm.
chapter, right? And
Hmm.
so here's where I'm going with this. I did forget who it was that was handed the task to break down Genesis, the first track in Illmatic, right? In the first track of Illmatic in Genesis, the scene is Nas is in his living room or somewhere in his home. Him and his boys are smoking, they're drinking, right? And they're talking their shit, and you hear Nas. It's almost like he's a little bit high, right? Very mellow as Nas is in his tone. And in the background, we hear the sound to Star Wars, that subway train, dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun, right? So we're hearing Star Wars in the intro of Genesis, and one of the homies
Hmm.
tells Nas, yo, Nas, what the fuck is this bullshit? And Nas says, yo, chill. That's that shit, God. And the person who wrote that chapter said, here, what Nas is doing as an up and coming master MC, little does he know, he's telling us, the listeners, he's reminding us what the foundation of hip hop is and to not forget it, right? And then it goes,
Hmm. No, no, hold on 1 second. Try and watch your language.
oh, my apologies. My
Yeah,
apologies.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I just got people watching that
my bad, right?
little ones. Yeah. So go
Right,
ahead.
my apologies.
So
So
now.
there's that scene happening, and then it cuts to in the movie, um, Zorro, played by Lee Quinones, is climbing back into his room after having gone out bombing. And his brother, who had just came back from doing boot camp, he's in his full Marine or Army uniform.
Right.
He's right. He had gone that route, and his brother's waiting for him, and comes in, and his brother's like, "Yo, you still doing this stuff?
Hmm.
There ain't nothing out here for you."
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And Lee says, "Oh yes, there is this," and then New York State of Mind drops. So
Mm.
again, the person that broke down that chapter, is saying that Nas, as a '90s MC, is setting the stage for this now classic album of any genre by
Right.
letting the listener know that there is something before this era that we should all connect to, that we should
Hmm.
never forget.
Hmm.
Because if we do, what will happen is we will end up sounding like his homies who are like, yo, what is this? Whatever, man, what is that? That's played out, B. And
Hmm.
so we need people who are of influence in every generation to say, yo, while I'm about to tear it up in these next 9 tracks, you better realize that's the business right there.
Yeah.
It's,
Let
pow-
me let me let me let me
it's
do something,
powerful.
and then I want to bring you back. So listen, guys, watching, do me a favor. Follow what Andrina's asking you. Also, guys, please share this on your platforms. This is some rich history that we're talking about here, right? So share this on your platforms. Let's get those likes up. The more likes, the more the algorithm just starts to move. More people can hear this. Let's get these likes up. Let's get people on the platforms watching. Thank you, Andrina. Thank you for everybody in the chat. I want to take you back real quick, and then I want to take you forward. In Puerto Rico,
Mhm.
all these New Yorkers are in Puerto Rico. New York dudes, New York females. Would you say that now? I've never been to the island once, never been to the island, but I know people. When I lived in the Bronx, I know people who go back to the island in the summer, or they would go back, and they would always say this to me. They would say, There's certain sections in PR that if you didn't know better, you would think you were in the Bronx because they brought the Bronx with them. Like it was just a plethora of New Yorkers, and they made it New York. How accurate is that?
That's absolutely true. So I was born and raised, like I mentioned earlier, Santurce, Puerto Rico, and Barrio Obrero. This is just to give you that answer. My parents split when we were very young, while still in Puerto Rico. My father stays in Barrio Obrero in the house that I was born and raised. My mother now moves closer to my grandparents who lived in another town named Canovanas. In Canovanas, there's a barrio called San Isidro, right? So after it's kind of, I always, just to let y'all know, like my mind is always, it works looking from the sky in. So I'm always kind of like zooming in my mind to track
Mm-hmm.
those memories, right? So Canovanas, zoom in. Now we're in San Isidro. We're at the house that she's renting, right? It's actually we're the downstairs of a two-story house. The owners live in the nicer one upstairs. And so there's a portion of San Isidro that is exactly what you just named. And I'm gonna give you even a more vivid memory. So
Mm-hmm.
it is very, you will find out very quick in Puerto Rico, in neighborhoods like that, in barrios like that, who the bichote is, who the gangster is, right? The
Mm-hmm.
dude that's bringing in the stuff, who's got the people working for him and moving weight, right? So that particular block, to your point, that felt like what would be the Bronx. Mind you, I hadn't seen the Bronx at that time,
Mm-hmm.
but I know what you're saying is true. There was a MR2 fully decked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a RX-7 fully decked out. The house with the MR2 fully decked out, there were like three Kawasaki dirt bikes outside, and all the music was all music from New York.
Mm-hmm.
And all the block, he had taken over the block. He either bought or was paying the people, or had continued to bring his peoples from New York to come and work the block. And it became a New York City block. No
Mm-hmm.
question. Bro, so there with those guys, because us kids were running rampant, riding our bikes. They never messed with us. They actually took great care of us. I
Mm-hmm.
saw Reeboks for the first time. I saw the sneakers the Lotuses, where that little weird square at an angle, the logo. This dude had the latest Lotus, and it came with the Velcro, the patch with different colors. So his
Mm-hmm.
outfit, he always had a different Velcro that the patch would come on and come off. Deodoras,
Mm-hmm.
they had, so I'm that's the experience of a young Puerto Rican kid. I don't know what the hell this is. These dudes, to your point, had all the latest, everything that was happening in NY. That's how they were dressing. That's what
They
they
were called
had.
it. They were called lottos.
Lottos,
Lottos. Yeah, the little thing that
the,
the Velcro. Yeah,
the little
lottos.
Velcro. Yeah,
Somebody just said that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right. So like, that's how vivid, and yes, lottos. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how vivid these things, that how the imprint that it left on me, right? And so, yeah, there is a connection there. These are the things that, if it's not for me telling this story, you've probably heard it from a family member or people tuning in. But like this to the public sphere, there's no way people would ever know this experience, bro. This is
Mm.
something that is highly missed when people think about the history of the dance
Well,
or the
take
hit.
us. So take us because we talked about this on the phone, and I think this is going to be very important.
Hmm.
You told me that you live not far from a place called Loíza.
Correct.
Loíza is, and you're going to explain what Loíza is, and many of the people that we debate with all claim, well, we've been to Loíza. It's all black people. Black Puerto Ricans and the light Puerto Ricans, they're two different. They don't even mix with each other. But, bro, you lived there. Take us through that. What is it like in Loíza? Tell the history. You lived there.
That is an absolute falsehood. That
Mm,
what you quoted other people saying, right? I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I'm going to answer that question, and once again, I'm going to tap into my memory bank to give you guys my experience, which was the experience of many people my age and their parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every weekend, my family, my father, rest his soul, was a construction worker, and on the weekends he would also go scuba diving to go spear fishing underwater, and that's not only a hobby. That's how he will make extra money. He will keep some of the catch, but he will also sell some of the other catch to the local restaurants, make a little extra cash on the weekends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all along Piñones, which is right after San Juan and Condado, that same road, I can't remember the name of the road because I wasn't driving at that time. That road bobs and weaves and curves, and you just take it one way and you end up in Loíza. So my father, his favorite beach, where we end up scattering his ashes, which was his wish all his entire life, that the day he passed, he wanted to be cremated, and he wanted his family to spread his ashes at his favorite beach in Piñones, right there, right by Loíza. We would eat, we would dance, we would break bread along with our African brothers and sisters of Loíza. There was no, I don't recall a time when there was a separation and you don't go over there. And matter of fact, the
Mm-hmm.
trophy that I could provide the photo of, because I have it, where my brother won that trophy, was in a little like town hall in Loíza.
Mm.
That's where they had that particular breaking jam,
Mm. Mm.
right? Um, s- like so it goes like this. From Piñones, the beach that we would go to, we could go like this and hit Loíza, right? And then here comes my family split, San Isidro, the other town that I told you. Then you could go this way and hit Loíza. So it's kind of like a V. So my life, from when I was born and raised, I was going into Loíza this way. My parents
Mm-hmm.
split. Now we live on this side, and we're still going to Loíza from this side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've spent the majority of my life going there. Bro, you
Mm.
could blindfold me and I could drive there. I could
Mm.
I mean, of course, if there's construction and things have changed, no doubt. But I could still follow the coastline. The coastline is the coastline.
Now, why
You know?
was it there? Why was it this place, Loisa, where the the those with African, I mean, we all have African ancestry, but it
Sure.
seems to be, the Black African Puerto Ricans end up in this place specifically, and I've seen videos on it, and they have the signs, and they talk about that history of this is like, Africa and Puerto Rico. Why was it there that
So
happens?
I'm the type, like, I don't want to misquote any. It's a great question, Dr. D. I for the sake of the integrity of our conversation, I don't want to answer this question with something that I may misquote a historical fact,
Okay,
right?
respect. Yeah.
So I do want to leave it up to everyone here that's watching to do a simple search or find a book. I think it would be a great point of
Hmm.
education for all of us, right? What I will say is this, so that we stay on track still in the topic, right?
Hmm.
Loíza is home to the majority of the Afro Puerto Rican community,
Hmm.
right? It is a very spiritual place. It is a place that is rooted in culture, not just our indigenous culture, but also our African brothers and sisters, because that is the truth of our history. And
Mm.
what they've done generation after generation is preserve their contribution and their culture that they brought, because they were brought to Puerto Rico. And in having been brought their contribution, what it now has become, it's an extension of who they are when they were brought, and how they've embraced the life as them now being Afro-Caribbean and what that means,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And their stories of their connection to our people, the Taínos,
Right.
what they taught each other,
Mm.
right? And why is it that Puerto Rico is such a rich place filled with so much history, so much, it's so dynamic. And while not perfect, because we have a lot of
Hmm.
wild stuff that happens socially, economically, and politically, the people of Puerto Rico tend to be very united. While again, yeah, there's people that have blind spots and say things that, you know, that in a politically correct environment, it's not, it's absolutely not right.
Hmm.
Everybody has blind spots, but I can tell you that the life in Puerto Rico is simple, it's humble, and people love each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
if
Yes, sir.
anybody has the ability to go to Puerto Rico on vacation, go to Loíza, go see one of their bomba y plena, you know, sessions that they do. You know, go see the 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 dances and the celebrations and their explanation of where it comes from, of of the instruments, where they come from, what with their garments, where they came from.
It
Um,
has it has been said, and we're touching on this in the documentary, by the way. Um, but it has been said. Well, we're more than touching on it. It has been said that the the bomba, when you look at the
mhm.
tradition of the bomba, and you see the cipher of the drums and the dancers in the middle, and the dancers are playing to the drums are playing to the dancers. The bomba is actually a drum. It is the name of a drum, and you know, and then there's the main drummers, and so it has been said by a few people that I've talked to that the connection between what you see the bomba doing, what really is the go off, and the dancers are dancing to that. They said there is such a, we're not saying there is a inspiration, that we're not saying it comes from that. We're saying you can't look at that and then look at breaking and b-boying and the cipher, and the drummer is the DJ who's playing the breaks, and the dancers are. And I said, wow, that's definitely something that you could look at and say, you know, I could see a connection. I could see, you know, how. And again, this from Africa. This all stems from Africa anyway. You see that in Africa. You see that in the Caribbean islands. You see that, you know, eventually you see that in Mambo, and then you see that. You talk to me a little bit about, um, and I'm not sure if you're okay talking about this, and tell me if you don't want to. But you said that eventually you want to do a b-boy event in Loíza. What
Yeah,
what what's
absolutely.
the reason?
The reason is to give the opportunity to anybody and everybody to come out and see the richness of our culture. But above that point, for people to see our African brothers and sisters and their contribution. A lot of people say, well, I can't go to Africa because blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, come to Puerto Rico. It's more affordable. I'll show you in the meantime until you can afford to go to a country in Africa, right? Which you everybody should. Uh, Come out to Puerto Rico. I, I'll take you there. I'll show you. You know what I'm saying? Come meet, your ancestors. They live there too.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
Um, Everywhere, the work that I've done, and I'm not a scholar, I'm just simply a student, right? I'm someone who loves and lives this culture. Um, Having knowledge of self, and as a person that is always a student, is to always carry first and foremost the fact that this is African culture, right? And that the contributions by the rest of us are there are a fact. It's a fact that we have contributed to the creation of hip hop. First and foremost, it is African culture. The thing is that Puerto Ricans are complex people. You know what I'm saying? If you're not from there, you can't decipher us. You don't
Right.
have the right to decipher us if you don't study us. We're very complex people because of
Mm-hmm.
our history. We
That's right.
are also people who have suffered from the same uh, scars and the same abuse of any colonized country.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
We are victims of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we, I- those of us that have that knowledge of self, we would never ever deny our African heritage, ancestry, right? Our Taino heritage. We are aware what the colonizer does. The conversation that you and I had, I said these words. The work that I've done unknowingly, not as a scholar, simply as a student, is that of the unification of our people, right? I've studied the Black Panthers. I've studied the Young Lords. Um, I was just in Peru, right? I studied both Tupac Shakurs. You know what I'm saying,
Mm. Mm.
right? Leading to my trip to Peru, I wanted to find out more about Peru. They have their own history of colonization. They have their own history of indigenous people. They're some of the oldest humans on this planet.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like full on civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the oldest humans on this planet. That's undisputable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of us that are now part of this culture, it's our duty to know our knowledge of self and to carry forth the truth, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and to find ways to continue to unify our people. What I said to you was, and it's not happening here, but I kind of want to say it here is,
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to engage in conversation. It's not happening here. I'm telling now the public what we spoke about.
Yeah.
I refuse to engage in conversation that is divisive and hurtful to any peoples
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to do the devil's work,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So I know where I stand. I know where I come from. I know where hip hop comes from. And I would never deny the experience of Black people anywhere in the world and their creation and their gifts to the world,
That's
right?
right.
When something like that happens, we know that people continue to contribute for that movement or that culture to evolve. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we did. Puerto Ricans, we were present in the creation of hip hop, and
Facts.
we also contributed to the evolution of hip hop. You know, I like if you go to a family party at a Puerto
Mm-hmm.
Rican family, dude, we look like every shade. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go to my family's gathering, it's who's who, who's what when we're family, right?
That's right.
So there are photos of the Black Spades and you know at that time, you know, that movement that transitioned from one thing to the other that led to what we now call hip hop, right? And again, these are skip and hops, right? For the sake of time. And in those photos, we see brothers and sisters repping with their colors and whatnot, and they have insignias and so on and so forth. Eh, You know how hard it would be to tell who
Mm.
of those brothers and sisters was Afro Caribbean versus African American? They look the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you were
Mm-hmm.
to ask at that time, the brother or the sister who's Afro Caribbean in those photos, what are they? What would they say, Dr. D? They would say, I'm Boricua,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Yes, they're black and proud. They're also Puerto Rican because is we are complex people. We don't want to be. We didn't choose to be. You know what I'm saying?
This is what's funny is that, they will, and we've talked about this. We talked about the fact that, you use the term colonizer, and I'm going to stay here for a minute and then we're gonna go on to something else because these guys are getting in the comments and getting ridiculous, and Andrina is handling them lovely, so I'm not worried about it. But when you look at what somebody could look at me, bro. I don't have Caucasian features. I do not look like a white man.
Mhm.
You don't look like a white man. Andrina does not look like a white girl. And yet they call her a white. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at the features of a people, whether that is, a Peruvian, a Costa Rican, a Nicaraguan, a Latino, boom, a Latino. It's the most ridiculous thing, and so the crazy thing is that we can't get past the one thing that this boils down to with certain people. While somebody would say you are being racist, the racist is calling somebody else a racist. Nowhere on any of my shows, including this one, have I made any, but yet they're making this. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let them handle it. So I want to take you
it's
somewhere.
fine. Nothing that has been said here
No,
has been real quick, Mister Doctor
yeah, yeah,
D.
yeah. Do your thing.
Nothing that has been said here has been degrading to any peoples.
Hmm.
This is a conversation. This is a dialogue, right? I started with my history. It still is. We're still gonna get to that, and part of that is about knowledge yourself, where I'm from, and where I'm from is a complex place.
Hmm.
You know, where I'm from, where I'm born and raised, is a place that a lot of people like to talk about, but they've never been there. They don't know it. You know what I'm saying? And you could read whatever Twitter posts or so and so's. You could knock yourself out till you pass out. You're still not
Hmm.
gonna know what it is. You're
Right.
not. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying? Like the
Right.
dynamic in any place, especially an island, is very complex. It's very complex.
And it comes to, and this is what one of the things that we're really going to focus on too. It comes from Africa to us. It doesn't come from Africa to the Americas. It comes from Africa to the Caribbean islands, Borican,
Haiti.
Haiti, Cuba, Santo Domingo. It comes there, and that's where that's all is. So anyway, you mentioned some things. We're gonna go down memory lane real quick. So you mentioned some things that were really interesting. Ybor City, blah blah blah. And so I remember the first time seeing you. You don't know that I saw you, right? So I am very good friends with um, Tommy Colonna, Pastor Tommy Urban D. And so I was his youth pastor for 3 years. So before he was the youth pastor, and I remember he showed me one of his album covers, and on the album cover he took a picture of the youth group, and you're in the front on the floor, right? And I'm like, yo, I said, because I already knew who you were. I'm a b-boy. I was a b-boy. I was in the culture, so I'm like, is that Teknyc? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what? What's he doing there? He's like, nah, bro. The b-boys used to come here, and we created a space for them to come and rock. Talk about that. What was that about? How did that happen?
I don't recall. I think we saw Urban. Big shout out to Tommy, the Urban Disciple. Um, so I know we. I think we saw him at some event,
Hmm.
like a hip hop event, right? And
Hmm.
he invited us to come to crossover. He said, "Yo, I have a ministry that's non-denominational, and hip hop is the vessel for me to speak to the people, and I have a space for the breakers to come and get down. It's a safe space. Come out.
Mm,
And yo, man, like that's hard. That was hard to find. And
mm,
so we, of course, we went. And Tommy and his wife and the ministry, like everybody was super welcoming. And yeah, man, we were rocking there for a bit. They put out a publication, uh, flavor. I forget the title, but a publication, and on the first volume, me and Abstract are on the cover, and
mm.
they basically did an article on us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's right. Yeah, yeah. So I can remember, um, hearing the stories, from Spec and from Los One, and they would say, yo, Thursday nights was it was the Thursday night hip hop, service, and like Thursday nights would be jam packed with young adults, and we have to put people on the stage, and then afterwards all the b-boys, mainly Skill Methods, would come out and they would do their thing, and a lot of b-boys, that weren't even associated with Skill Methods, would come. And when I got there in 2006, and I was seeing all kinds of b-boys. I remember Mouse, I remember Abby, I remember, I think I saw Clown there a few times, just, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Abstract, all those dudes were rocking out there. So you part of Skill Methods. Any other crews you're part of that and then talk to us a little bit about the graph, and then what you're doing. What other crews were you a part of?
so for a bit, I was rocking with Rocksteady. That's sometime after a couple of us in Skill Methods were given the opportunity to represent Rocksteady also. So we got down with Rocksteady for a bit. That only lasted for a couple of years. Then we went back to just strictly representing Skill Methods, which I'm still a part of. Skill Methods was established in 1995, still to this day, right?
Mm,
Um, I'm part of FC, Fame City, First Class is a graph crew. I'm part of
mm,
FBA. I'm part of X Men. And yeah, I've been writing since around 2005, 2004. And since then, man, I've just been taking it all over the world, bro. Like
mm,
I've obviously been traveling with dance, battling and judging all over the world, but also painting too, which has
mm,
been super dope. I've had two solo gallery shows. We just did a dope mural for the 40th anniversary for FC. And man, it's nonstop, bro. I'm fortunate enough, and you know, these Dr. D is probably because it's just my love for hip hop, man. My integrity to hip hop and my ability to connect with people anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying? Is how I move.
mm,
My wife and I have this word that we like to remind ourselves all the time. It's about grace.
mm.
You
Yes,
know,
sir. Yeah.
we not always we oftentimes fail to remind ourselves that a lot of times the best thing that we could offer other people is grace, bro. You know
Mm.
what I'm
That's
saying?
right. Hmm.
I see the comments. I see people's whatever they're going through. I just gotta have grace, man. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? I know where my heart is at. I
That's right.
know what I've done in my life and what I'll continue to do. And
Hmm.
I can only hope that other people they also find that in their heart too, to give other people grace.
That's right.
Otherwise, bro, it'll be the demise of all of our people.
That's right. I think I'll end with you've said it two times. You said it three times, and I'll continue to say it. Um, and it's a very touchy subject, because when people feel like so many things have been taken from them. I get it. I'm not minimizing that. What I'm saying is you're looking at the wrong people because we are not guests in the house. We are part of the house, and
Yeah.
we've been part of the house. And I'm there from I'm from the Bronx. I'm seeing it as early as 75. I've never known a time, brother. I've never known or seen a time where there was not all of us together doing this together. I don't know a time like that. Others would say there was, and that's not my fight. I'm not going to get into that fight. What I will say is that we definitely were uh, creators, contributors, influencers to this day. It is what it is. And my desire, I want you to hear me, is my desire is to build bridges and to extend the grace of God, bro, because there but for the grace of God go I, bro. I could be in that space too. But um I try to have, and a lot of people say, "Oh, bro, you're just too nice with this. You need to just get yeah." No, 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 because I understand people are people, bro. This hip hop conversation is really a smoke screen for a deeper issue, bro. There's deeper issues that people deal with, and that might go through to some childhood stuff. That might go through some deep stuff, but it ain't really about hip hop. It's deeper than that. It's something more. And so I always want to, get to the bottom of what is this about really? What is this really about? And then how do we build a bridge and pray, bro, praise God that there are people that from the African American community that are willing to build bridges, that understand the reality, that are from the Bronx, that have seen it. So I thank God for those people who can come along and say, no, this is the story. The story is the story, and we're gonna tell the story. And this is a new 50th anniversary thing. I guarantee you, bro. Next year, this probably won't even be a conversation, brother. And to be honest with you, this is a conversation that happens strictly on YouTube. This does not happen in the streets. They're not talking about this in the streets. When you go to jams, they're not talking about this at the jams. This is a YouTube conversation from people outside of the culture. And, I just wish that people would just listen, but because it's coming from us and how we look,
Listen,
they can't listen.
yeah. Look,
Talk it.
I have 3 passports full of stamps, and that's a blessing in of itself. I've been all over the world. I have had the the opportunity to sit down and break bread from people from all walks of life, different backgrounds, race, creeds, religious backgrounds. I've been to Palestine. I've been to Israel. I've been to Gaza. I've been to Egypt with everything that's going on. I
Mm,
broke bread there. I broke bread there with our people. I've been to Vigo, Spain. I've been to the south of Spain. I've been to the desert in Spain where the Moors first came. You know what I mean? Like I've sat, talked with with our people
mhm,
and gained knowledge. So when people say, ask this, ask that, I ask them, have you been there?
mhm,
You know what I'm saying?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's world travelers, bro. We gotta be world travelers. So you gotta run. You
Yeah.
good?
Part
You
pardon?
good? You gotta
Yeah,
run. You
yeah,
good?
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, it's just about being somebody who's traveled the world, and you've traveled the world, bro. You've seen places. You've been around people, and it is what it is. I would just say to those and this is my channel, so I can say what I want to say.
Sure.
I would definitely say to those who are in the chat, and who I've already, I know those in the chat. You've made videos about my channel. You've made videos about me. I get it. I am in no way phased by it. I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying that we could have a meaningful dialogue um, together. And I've always offered that to you. I'm talking to you in the chat. I've always offered that to you. Let's talk as men. And you just simply stoop to making videos, and that's two things. That's childish and it's immature, and maybe those two things are the same thing. But I'm not about that, right? I'm a grown man who can speak intelligently on the culture of hip hop. I've lived it. I'm a student of it. I study it. I hold a doctorate. I didn't get my doctorate out of a cereal box. I did the work. My doctorate is in education. I teach history. So, give me that much credit to know this guy might know what he's talking about because I've done the research. But I've not only done the research, I've lived the research. But anyway, the documentary is going to come out and it's going to celebrate, completely celebrate what we've done, our people, and and it's going to be meant to be a celebration piece. It's not meant to be a counterpiece. It's a celebration piece that I pray all Latinos would look at and say, "Wow, this is beautiful," and it is what it is. I talked to my cousin who lives in the Lower East Side. She is African American. Her mother is my mother's sister. Her mother is a dark Puerto Rican. Her father's black. I talked to her about this whole thing. And now she's in New York, she's a New York African American Rican. I said, you know what's going on? We talked about this thing, and she said, it's so silly. I said, what do you classify yourself as? And she said, Derek, I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm also black. But I'm just as much a Puerto Rican as I am a black girl. So I can rock with my Puerto Rican family, and she does, and she always has, and she dances salsa, but she could rock with her African American side of her family. We didn't even look at it that way, bro. That didn't even we're family. That's it, you know. But anyway, thus this is the life where we live, and this is what it is. But anything else you want to add in reference to anything else? And then we'll call it a day. It's been a great live, bro. Great live, great history, great stuff, bro. Great stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, man. I just want to, say thank you again. Thank you to everybody that tuned in, and we will all, everybody here, will continue to do the work. I like to think that the passion that comes from everyone, from all sides, is still hopefully leading to the same.
Hmm.
We're trying to preserve something that's very dear to us, and we just have to continue to move with grace. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
we all should understand what's at stake for
Hmm.
all of us. Um,
Hmm.
if we do the work of dividing each other, um, that's not something I would ever be part of. Nobody that I know, nobody that I've met is doing work of division. The work that we're all doing is in transit to preserve the unification of all of our people, and for all of us to be a voice for all of our people wherever they're at. And so that's the work that I'll continue to do, and I'll continue to remind myself to have grace. It's not always like that, man. It's not. We are imperfect, but I'll
Hmm.
continue to work towards a better tomorrow for all of us. It sounds That's all I can say, man. It sounds whatever, you know what I mean? It probably sounds too good to be true, but
Mhm.
it is what I'm doing. It's
Yeah.
engraved in stone. I'm doing it. You know what I
Here's the
mean?
one thing that I found, and I'll end with this. I found interesting. We've had I've had certain people that I've just commented with, and they were very. It was very aggressive. It was very aggressive, and I would always ask, Is there a way that we could have a conversation on the phone? Can we talk?" And a few of them said yes, and we've gotten on the phone. And by the end of the conversation, not an exaggeration, they have said, "Wow, I've had the wrong idea about you and what you are standing for and what you are doing. I don't think the way I thought when I was in those comments." And they've actually asked me, "Please forgive me because I'm hearing your heart." And you can't get that in comments. You got to talk to people, right?
Tone, the tones get lost. It's easy to type
Yeah.
whatever. But again, look, Dr. D, I honestly don't want to continue to give that
Mhm.
any more food. Not, I appreciate you sharing that with me. And again, I just want to thank you for your time, for having me as a guest. I think, following Bobito and all the guests that you've had before, I'm grateful. And
Bro.
I thank you for letting me tell my story. and
Mhm.
and I thank everybody that took time out to tune in. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. You know where to find me. Reach
Mhm.
out. I'm always open to hold dialogue as long as it's not
What
destructive.
what are your give us your social media platforms so people can know how to reach you.
Absolutely. Just at TEKNYC at Teknyc. It's a public page. It's not private. Just send me a message, send me a friend's request, send me a question. Again, as long as it's not destructive or it's not anything that's harmful or degrading to anyone, including myself or themselves, we're good money, man. You know what I mean? We keep it on that
Awesome.
level. So.
When are you going to Loíza?
I mean, Puerto Rico, we're planning on going to Puerto Rico, my wife and I, hopefully sometime this year. The event is in the planning stages. That's something I would like to do. I have a business partner that I do technical knockout, my jam that we did in Osaka, Japan last year. We've talked about the possibility of doing it in Puerto Rico, and that's where the concept of doing it in Loíza came about. So we're just still working the details on being able to do it in Puerto Rico. We have to pair with someone that what we will call an ambassador to connect with in Puerto
Mhm.
Rico to help us achieve these things. As we had an ambassador in Osaka, Japan, where we did it earlier this year in June. So we don't have any corporate sponsorship like that. You know what I mean? We're
Mhm.
essentially doing it ourselves with very little support, which is fine. So
Mhm.
it takes a little bit of time to get it done, but we are getting it done.
All right.
So
Keep me in the loop, man. I would love to go. I would love to go. Yeah, and
absolutely,
just
absolutely.
be just watch and just see. I've never been to PR, so I just want to go to PR, but
You have
definitely go to Loíza.
when you go, it won't be your last. I'll tell you that much.
Mm, that's what's up. That's what's up, bro. Thank you so much, man. Greet your wife for me, and let's stay in touch. And I'll let you know as we get closer to the documentary. And please, bro, this is something I want you to think about over the next. I would love for you to be a part of the documentary to
Okay.
tell the story of Puerto Rico and
Do my
that part
best.
of hip hop, man. Yeah. So think about it, pray about it, contemplate, talk to your wife about it. But I would love to, man. But that has to happen sooner rather than later because I'm trying to wrap up the last couple of filmings,
Right.
and then the editing, and that's gonna be a monster, bro. So
No doubt.
yeah.
No doubt.
All right. So we'll
But
be in
cool.
touch, brother.
Thank you again.
All right, man. Bless you,
Peace.
bro.
Yeah, you too,
Peace.
man. Peace.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you, man, so much for tuning in. And yeah, so I don't even want to get into that, but just some great information from Teknyc, and I'm so grateful for his insight to the island, to what was happening on the island, to his getting involved in b-boying and breaking and writing. There's just so many rich stories that we have. Again, the Babito interview went absolutely phenomenal. I gave you a little taste, a little taste. It was a little short clip. The Ruby D interview went absolutely phenomenal. I'm editing every day as much as I can. I think we have about two more people that we're going to interview, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to start the final editing process of that. Just not sure when it's going to be 2024. We're going to reveal the name. We're going to reveal the trailer. That's going to come toward the new year, January-ish, and it's going to be just be a great educational piece. It's going to be a great educational piece. And one of the things, again, that I talked to you about was that there was a video that I just did today, and it if you look at it, it has a picture of a computer on the screen. I want you to please watch that. Um, we want to really take the channel, both Urban Exegesis and Hip Hop History Origins and Elements, to the next level. And that video is going to tell you some ways that you can get involved. If you enjoy what we do, if it's beneficial to you, if you like the conversation, if you like the videos, if you like, just the history, please watch that video and consider what I'm asking you. There's something that we really, really want to do to take this to the next level. As usual, please don't forget to hit the super thanks. Well, actually, I think it's super chat in the live. So if you super chat, you can donate to the channel. Also, on each of the videos, you can see the thanks button. That's super thanks. On all the shorts, there is super thanks. And as usual, Andrina, please go ahead and drop the Cash App link. As usual, please support by donating to the Cash App. Um, and the information is in the link. Also, donate by another way you could help is by copying the book Son of the Ghetto, Can Anything Good Come Out of the Bronx? And this is the book that takes you through my story. It takes you through my hip hop journey. It takes you through my encounter with God. It takes you through my educational journey and all those pitfalls, ups and downs. But everything within that book is laced completely within the hip hop framework. Okay, from the Bronx to Rochester to Rhode Island to Tampa, everything that I have ever done has been laced. And make no mistake about it, my back and forths, my main connection has always been the Bronx and New York City. And my book tells you that, takes you through that story. And I appreciate so many of you who have purchased the book. Thank you for the support. I pray it's a blessing to you. Please share that. Please, send that to somebody. Give it as a blessing for Christmas, whatever you do. Right. So, Andrina, thank you one more time. Um, thank you one more time for what you do. Please go ahead and support Andrina Scassa on her channel. Um, I see Verb Soul. You say the documentary must be done for posterity. What do you mean by that, Verb Soul? Tell me what you mean by that. Let's talk about that a little bit. What do you mean by must be done by posterity, for posterity? Tell me what you mean by that. Right? Tell me what you mean by that. Let's see. Let's see. Let me see, man. Let me just see who's in here. Shout out to Marco for the youngsters coming up. Oh yeah, absolutely. For the youngsters coming up, just to know that history. Let me shout out some people. Let's see. We got. Let me see. American Royalty. I'm aware of the China. Okay. American Royalty, man. Thank you for tuning in tonight. True Teacher, thank you. Hope, thank you. Verb Soul, of course, Andrina. Let me see who else. Absolute 70 True. Thank you for tuning in. Um, uh, Nine Ether. Thank you for tuning in. I think Nine Ether is actually hip hop historian, but that's okay. Listen, I welcome all of you, man. Thank you. Thank you. You can be here. We want you to be here. We just want you to be here, and let's have conversation instead of insults. Let's just have conversations. I want you to be here. I would never tell you not to be here, but let's be here and be respectful. All right. So let me see who else. I didn't see my man Randy on here tonight. Maybe he was here. I just didn't catch him. I see Pro for One, my dude. He's working on the cover for the documentary. Malik Bey, grace and peace, bro. Thank you for coming through. Uh, that fact checker. Let me see. Let's see. Anybody I miss? I don't want to miss anybody. I want to make sure I got everybody. Got a good turnout tonight. Of course, DJ Talim. Thank you so much, brother. My man is also part of the documentary, and he lends some great jewels. Let me see. Atum Nahisi Ta Neteru. Ah, all right. Grace and peace, brother. Thank you for being with us tonight. Let's see. Yeah, let me see. Anybody else? That I missed? Let me go way back to the beginning. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go back to the beginning. Okay, let me see. Uh, Born eternal Lord Allah, peace, righteous minded family. Yes, sir. So yeah. Anyway, um, I think this is the last live I have scheduled for a while. We have another interview that I'm going to be doing this Saturday for the documentary, which is not going to be alive. But these are pre-recorded, just specifically for the documentary. I might put little clips out just to sort of show you what we're doing. And then I'm gonna take a break from the lives. I might not. I might just do a live, and just keep you up to speed. But also, guys, go to Urban Exegesis, right? Go to Urban Exegesis. That's that channel that takes you through theological studies, theological debate, theological stuff, the Christian faith. Is Christianity true? The doubts, the questions, all of that. Urban Exegesis is that channel that can take you. So, and help you deal with the other side of life, the spiritual side of life, and the questions that people might have. And so that channel is dedicated to total apologetics, defending of the faith, and answering the tough questions. I recently just did one on, did Jesus exist? And there are those in this world that believe Jesus did not even exist. He was not a human being. What does the evidence say? And then we just did one actually on the story of Jesus. Does the story of Jesus Christ come from the the mythological story of Horus, the Egyptology, all of that? Does it come from Horus? And we show you what is said and the comparisons and why people say this came from Horus, everything. And then we're going to show you why all of those answers are totally debunked, because the actual Book of the Dead and Egyptian mythology does not have any, did you hear me? Any of those comparisons. So, no. But go to the channel, Urban Exegesis. If you get there, you just go to my About section, you scroll down, the link is there, click on that, go get some of that spiritual nourishment. I appreciate you. God bless you. I will talk to you in the next episode. Grace and peace. Hmm.